Hello you guys, this is Rosanna with Beautiful Skin. Today we're going to talk about eyebrows. So, a lot of people ignore their eyebrows, thinking that they're just fine the way nature intended, or they don't need to enhance them with any powder. They may shape them, but they don't necessarily enhance the color of them. Your eyebrows are kind of like frames to your eyes. And if the saying is true that the eyes are the window to the soul, then the frames are pretty important. So I like to pay attention to the eyebrows. I don't like to go overboard and get super groomed or create a shape that is unnatural to the way your eyebrows naturally grow, but I do like to just groom them up a little bit, kind of clean up their shape, any strays that are messy and out of the proper line, and then do a little bit of fill if necessary. Most of us do need a little bit of eyebrow fill, unless we're probably 17. So if you're 17, yeah, you might not need eyebrow fill, but if you're older than that, most of us probably do need a little bit. So let's talk about shaping first. Okay, first what you'll do is you'll brush your eyebrows. This is our spoolie brush. It comes in our 7-piece brush set. So brush them, kind of get everything in, lined up and under control. Then what you're going to do to determine shape, I'm going to just use the end of our angled eyeliner brush here. You're going to take a brush and line it up with the end of your nose, or the edge of your nose, I guess. And for me, that goes right along my inner corner of my eye here as well. But basically, you're going to line up your eyebrow with the edge of your nose. That gives you enough space in between here that looks natural. Never, whatever you do, never leave eyebrow hairs growing here. If you leave them natural everywhere else, fine, but don't ever have them right here. You will look like the bushwoman. So, don't do that. Big faux pas. Line up your brush here. Anything that falls to the inside of these lines is where you're going to want to tweeze your hairs out. Then, determining the rest of the shape, take that same brush and just rotate it a little bit. You're going to line it up with the pupil of your eye, keeping it lined up with your nose. So turn it just a little bit. And that's about the highest point of your arch. Again, keeping in mind your natural shape of your brow. If you have a straighter brow, you don't want to pluck it into a super high arch. That will look artificial. If your arch does naturally fall a little bit further out, that's fine too. You can line this up with the outer the outer edge of your iris as well. It's just play with it a little bit, kind of see where your natural brow shape is. If you can't tell, go for that middle of your pupil, and that's where you're going to aim to make your arch. My eyebrows are pretty rounded, not necessarily arched, so you can kind of see how that works. Try not to actually arch your eyebrows when you're doing this. You want to remain as neutral as possible. You're going to go about like so. Then, to determine your best end point, rotate your brush just a little bit more to the outer corner of your eye, keeping it at your nose there as well. And that's about the point your brow should end. Anything beyond that starts to look a little silly, and too short looks too short. So, you'll do that with both of your eyes. If you're really not sure, even if you've tried that and you're really wary of tweezing your brows, my suggestion is, and this is what I did, go to a professional, get a brow wax, let them know that you've never done it before, have them talk you through shape and talk about what you're comfortable with, and go conservative. It's always easier to take a little bit more away than to add back in. Get a professional brow shape with a wax. Doesn't hurt as much as you think it might, I promise. Then you can keep up that shape at home with your own tweezers. So that's what I've done. I think I've maybe had 2 brow waxes in my whole life, and then I've just kept up the shape with my tweezers. So once you have your basic eyebrow shape with all of your strays, it's totally fine to tweeze above your line right here if you want to. I know we've been told that that's kind of a no-no. Sometimes we have hair growing in random places. Right up in here, take them away. Clean it up a little bit. You want a line on skin, not a darker part of eyebrow with mixed in with hair here. You can see I have kind of funky hair going on here. I have a whirl in my hairline, and it affects my eyebrow and my hairline, so I have to be careful that these don't grow together and I look kind of like a monkey. Just make sure that you keep a little space. Make sure everything is nice and cleaned up. That's the basic idea. Now let's get started on filling. As you can see, I have no brow fill in right now. I use our angled liner brush. And what you'll do to determine color is go just a smidge lighter than your natural brow color. Lighter always looks a little bit more natural. The last thing you want to look like is you painted them on with a Sharpie. So that's never cute. Definitely go a little lighter. Now, that said, my eyebrows are really dark. My hair is really dark. I tend to go towards either matte black or sometimes rich earth, or even a mixture of the two works really well for me. Don't worry too much about shimmer in your color. You can use any one of our eyeshadows. Brown, of course. I wouldn't recommend purple. You can use any one of those, and because you're putting that color through your actual eyebrow hairs onto your skin, you're not going to see very much shimmer. Try it out, see if you like it that way. Let's get started on the shaping. I use matte black. I'm just going to get a little bit completely dry. You don't want this wet. Tap it off. You want your brush fairly, not a lot of product in your brush. You can always build. It's harder to take it away. Okay, so then you're going to start, and I like to start here and work my way outward. Just kind of start working that color in. What I love about doing this with a brush is that you do get down through the hairs and onto the skin, just kind of providing a backing, a thicker looking, more robust, if you will, backing for the hairs that are there. I find that's harder to do with a pencil. It gets a little bit tangled up and mostly on your actual eyebrows, like the hairs themselves. I love doing it with a brush. Okay, then you just do this to your satisfaction. Again, remembering that lighter touch is definitely better. You just want to fill in. Notice I'm just using kind of little soft strokes. And then just take that all the way to the end. Now if you don't have hairs on the end, you can create a little bit more line. Just go really, really faintly. You don't want to look too much like you drew it on. I do have hair here, so I just kind of go back behind that and fill it in. That is the basics. Let's do the other side. You can see what a difference it makes. You can already kind of tell, right? It doesn't look unnatural. The shape is still the same. The color is still the same. It just looks a little bit more intentional and like you didn't forget your window frames. Let's fill in the next one. Now, if you find yourself, like I do, with crazy hairs that tend to grow kind of nuts right in here, I have a couple that tend to grow straight up. You can take a little pair of manicure scissors or actual eyebrow scissors and just trim those right along the line of your brow. I just kind of nip them off as I go. And that's perfectly fine. I have some wild ones out here too that kind of grow with my whorl right there, so I trim them down so they're not heading out into outer space here with the rest of my hair. Alright, then you just finish off the end point right here. And that is basically it. Brows can seem intimidating, especially if you've seen the sweet little old grannies that have almost red painted on triangles. It's not very attractive and you're always a little bit concerned that you're going to turn out like that. Just experiment around, play with it when you're not going somewhere, you're not under pressure, see if you like the way it looks, play with a couple of different colors, and yeah, just fiddle around, see what works best for you, your eye shape, and hair color and brow color. And you'll see that that really frames your eyes and brings your whole look into focus. My main philosophy with doing makeup is to bring all the focus to the eyes because they are the window to the soul. They're the most expressive, and I like to set them off perfectly and complete the look with nice frames. So if you have any questions, let me know. You can message me on Facebook, you can comment on Instagram, you can comment on the YouTube video or on the blog. So multiple ways of getting in touch with me. So that's it. I hope that was informative and you're not intimidated by brows. See you next time.